Thanks for joining us today on the Big Blue Podcast. I'm Greg Stone, Provost of the Southeast Campus, here as always with Dr. Leigh Goodson, TCC President. How are you, Dr. Goodson?
I'm doing well.
Great. And we are here today with Ramona Curtis, who is relatively new to the college. She's our Director of Diversity Outreach Programs. We were just talking before we got started about her tenure at Baylor University. And Ramona, you came to TCC about
in February.
7 months ago? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have you here, and we're excited to get to talk to you today about the work that you're doing, that you're leading in the Office of Diversity and Outreach Programs. What have these first few months been like for you? Any surprises since you came on board? What's your initial reaction to TCC been after such a long and successful career at Baylor?
Well, I guess when you ask me if there were any surprises as far as the good work that TCC is doing, no. But May and the tornado weather. Big surprise. Big surprise. I thought I was going to get the U-Haul out.
Oh, no. You just have to get through it, yeah.
You sadly do get used to
it. Yes,
yeah.
I think so. I think the second time the sirens went off, I felt like I was at home. But as far as being surprised about things at TCC, I really was looking at, I was surprised about how committed that an institution would be to diversity and inclusion and equity. And so just so excited to be a part of that work, to see that there are resources there. And it not only strengthens the TCC commitment to diversity and reaching out to underserved populations, but also the community as a whole. And so I was excited to see that and to be a part of that, yes.
That's great.
Some of our listeners may not be aware of the various programs that we have for first-generation students, students of color. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us just a little bit about some of the programming that happens within the diversity, equity, and inclusion area, and maybe a little bit about some of the plans you have, too?
Oh, absolutely. So the way we are divided is we do some work for students who are off campus, so potential students, and then we have a program for students who are on campus, and then we have a program that's a mix of both, so we really like that. But I'll start out with our LEAP program, and that program involves, it's our Learning Education Advancement Preparation, and we're in 2 high schools here in Tulsa, East Central and Central High School. And in those high schools, we have about a 30-week curriculum each semester that we do with students there. We mostly work with seniors, and I know a lot of people say we got to start early, but what do we do with those seniors who are transitioning? Mm-hmm. So we want to make that stronger as well. So we work with some juniors as well. And we realize that we really need to start working with our juniors a little bit more as well. So at East Central, we mostly work with juniors, and at Central, we're still working with our seniors and getting them ready. As a part of our LEAP program, we teach college readiness. We host college achievement summits at TCC. We just put out our dates for that. In November, we will have our Tribal Nations College Achievement Summit. On February the 21st, we will host our African American College Achievement Summit, and then in April, I believe it's April the 3rd, this is a Friday, we will host our Hispanic Student Achievement, our College Achievement Summit. We also
April
do...
1st?
April 3rd.
April 3rd,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we also have a college achievement summer program that we do at Union High School, and we want to grow that. You talk about future things. We want to do that with more communities, but that served about 34 students. And one of the things that we like to do, both at our College Achievement Summit and any summer programs that we run, we want the students in our community to know what's available for them at TCC. So that's one of the questions we ask, or do you plan to attend TCC? Even with the students we work with in our LEAP program, we still want to know that because we want to help them and connect them as early as high school to what's going on academically on campus. From our workforce development to being a firefighter and all of that, to our veterinary program, our dental hygienist, and then even if you want to transfer to a 4-year college, we talk about all of those things. We administer the acupuncture placer pretest, which we want to kind of look and assess the college readiness for these students, and we want them to continue to do the pre-accuplacer so that we can determine whether or not they would be college ready or need. We hope that they would not need developmental courses when they hit campus. So we try to strengthen that piece there as well. And I will say that we have held 3 College Achievement Summits. We served 306 students in our LEAP program. 358 students were served in our summits, and 37 students were served in our summer camp. And we've had over 50 college students, TCC college students, who have acted as volunteers for during our summits and our tutoring program. So that is our LEAP program. We have another program that's our college achievement, America Reads, America Counts. Now, the America Reads, America Counts program is a work study program. And that work study program pays college students who are eligible for work study to tutor K-12 students. So we're so excited about that. One of our partners in that is Reading Partners, Tulsa's Reading Partners program. And we also do tutoring after school at the Outreach Center. And so from there, we have spent, just at the Outreach Center alone, we've spent over 318 hours. Our students, TCC students, have spent over 318 hours on math with elementary and middle school students, 267 hours spent on reading the students just this spring alone.
Wow.
So we're really working with all ages.
All ages, and that's part of the outreach program. We're strengthening that. But in the Reading Partners, our students who work with Reading Partners, they did over 1,574 hours tutoring from fall 2018. 608 and spring 2019, 966 hours spent tutoring those kids.
Not light.
Not light at all.
Yes. And
that's a big commitment.
Oh, our students are so committed.
Yeah.
If you go out to the Outreach Center in the afternoons when we're having our tutoring programs, it just feels like this is what we should be doing. Our parents are so committed to bringing the little ones over, and then the TCC students are so committed to showing their gifts and reaching out and tutoring in math and reading. So we're so excited about that. We also have a My Dream program, and that reaches out to our dreamers, our students who are here who are dreamers. And that program has some exciting outcomes for that. When I looked and assessed what we were doing, and I always like to see what our outcomes are, because that's what people know to say, oh, that's working. Oh, that's great.
Right.
We need to fund that, or we need to do more of that, or we need to let more people know what's going on. But for our My Dream program, we counsel undocumented students or our dreamers. We're a liaison between our funders and the college. We do a student orientation, and we also do an annual banquet. We just started that this year, doing an annual celebration for these students. So I will tell you how that impacts the college, and we're so excited. In spring of 2019, we had a total of 103 students. Our retention rates for those students from 16, 17, and 18 has consistently been over 90%. And so for 16 and 17, there was 94%, but in 2018, it was 95% retention on these students. And we're so excited. And another great thing about them, for the first time this year, we gave certificates for those that had 3.5 GPA or higher. That was 26 total certificates given for our dreamers who had a GPA of 3.5 or higher, and some of those had 4.0 GPAs.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, I want to ask you about staff in just a second, but it occurs to me too, and just hearing you talk about all these amazing programs and how we're able to reach out into the community. You mentioned introducing students to our vet tech program and our dental hygiene program. Some of our programs that I know just in my previous role of helping to work with our nursing and allied health programs have really been looking to diversify the students who are coming into those programs. And so to know that there's recruitment work on their side and the great outreach programs that you and your team are working on, it's just there's so many more great outcomes that are ahead of us as all of this work is really progressing. So many students involved, so many hours of volunteer time, but I know you don't have just an enormous staff of people, but you have an enormously talented staff of people. So just because I know there's been some reorganization over the last few years, and some people who are listening might not know who's on your team, can you just kind of quickly walk us through your team members and what their roles are?
That would be quickly. But I am so excited because as you see these numbers, right now there are 4 people making this happen.
Wow.
Now, yes, absolutely. Haley Robinson was one of our outreach specialists, and she just transitioned into another position in the community. But she works at East Central, and she's also the head of the Tribal Nations Summit. And then we have James Davis, another one of our outreach specialists, which at Central, he's a rock star. Everybody loves James. And he heads the African American College Achievement Summit. We also have Gloria Kirkpatrick, and she is a rock star.
Yeah,
she runs our center out there. She heads up the America Reads, America Counts program, the Dreamers program, and any of the services where people are coming in and out of the center. Because we also do the acuplacer testing out there, and she runs that. But all of our staff are certified to be able to proctor the test. And then here is where our staff really were inspired by our work, because as we give just those that come into our center to do acuplacer, and we know we do them all over campus, but just for the ones where we did over 119 in the past year acuplacer test. Of those, of the math acuplacer test, we did 44. Only 3 were college ready. Of the reading foundations, we proctored 29 of those tests. Only 10 students who took that test were college ready. And of the writing foundations, we administered 20 of the tests, and only 13 were college ready. So that means only those students were able to take college level writing at their first time in college.
So there's a lot of work to do.
There's so much work to do.
There's a lot of work to do, right?
Yes, absolutely. This year, that's why we are so inspired to be able to continue to do our pre-acuplacers and look and see if there's any growth in there. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm Leigh Goodson here with my co-host, Dr. Greg Stone, and you're listening to the Big Blue Podcast. Our guest today is Ramona Curtis, and we've been talking about some of the programs that we have in place to ensure our students know that they belong here.
Absolutely.
Yes, our first value, you belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're really excited about our new values and making sure every student knows that we're here to help them reach their educational goals. Tell us how the work with diversity, equity, inclusion, and your outreach program, how does that fit into the bigger picture of Tulsa Community College? Talk to us a little bit about that, and how, and then I'm going to have a follow-up.
Okay.
So talk to us about how it fits into, because I have a follow-up to that.
Yes. Well, one of the things that we did as the college looks at their new vision and new goals, I went to each of my staff and said, how does the work that we do resonate with you? And the big thing is that whole issue of you belong here. No one gets turned away. We want to make sure that if we don't have a program or an activity or an initiative for you, we know the college does, and so we're always referring. We also know that there are some people in our community that are intimidated by this thought of college, whether it's paying for college or thinking I'm good enough for college, or how are they going to treat me when I get there. We are able to let them know how welcoming and inviting we are at TCC, and how we want to help you on your journey. Even if you don't know just right now, we like to wet your whistle to let you know that, hey, there's something here for you. And so we want to make sure, and although we know that we are a higher ed institution, but it's a higher ed institution that's here for everyone. So we're not just do we want individuals to leave here with a college degree, but we want them to leave feeling wanted, feeling needed, and going and making a difference, because we did that for them, and they give us so much. They, the students give me so much, and I'm learning how to better serve through the services that we do. And so, yeah, we've had that conversation with our staff about how does our work fit, because it is about purpose.
Throughout the college and on an ongoing basis, we're embarking on everybody having a better understanding of what equity means in educational outcomes. I would say we've just taken some baby steps in that direction. Certainly haven't arrived, and it'll be years and years. I don't think we'll ever arrive. I don't know that anyone ever arrives in that space.
I get that. I do.
But if you were to say one thing to your fellow employees at Tulsa Community College about the work you do in equity and what they could do to embrace it also, what would it be?
Well, I have a favorite quote by Dr. King, and it is so long till I don't have it memorized. But Dr. King talks about he has the audacity to believe that people need education for their minds, food for their bodies, and culture, and what self-centered men have torn down, other-centered men can build up. So we really feel like we're those other-centered people who are filling gaps so that we all feel a part of what we're doing here and the calling that we have on our lives. And so being other-centered is all I expect anyone to be when we talk about equity. And it is not a selfish talk, it is a selfless talk. So we know that we're a part of that whole equation as well. So I'm not someone who's going to say, well, just come on over to diversity and equity and we'll sing Kumbaya and all problems are solved. Because I think, Dr. Goodson, you are right. We won't have it solved because as we work harder, for instance, I'm thinking about how we empowered our girls so much to achieve. Then we started looking, now the boys are slipping. And we're trying to get them with a college mindset. So we've got to find a way where we can, level out the playing field. And I think we do that by being other-centered. We've got to look at all of the data to tell us where we are as we're closing these gaps. And so, because that's what we want to do. We want to close gaps. We're not just saying we want these individuals to rise. We want to close gaps and level that field for everyone.
So just really quickly, and this is not a fair question to ask for a quick answer, but before we get to the last question, what does success look like to you over the next few years? What's your vision for how diversity outreach programs accomplishes and looks like, say, 5 years from now?
Well, I would love to see more traffic, most definitely. I'd love to see the statistics that I've given you today, our outcomes I've given you today. I'd like to see those numbers increase, especially on the number of people we serve. We have a capacity for each one of our summits to serve at least 300 students, and so we want to be there in 5 years. How we do that, whether it's PR, whether it's continuing to use our community partners and our campus partners together to help us get the word out of what we're doing. We certainly need to grow our staff because of the capacity. We'd love to be in more schools. We'd love to have a summer program that partners with the schools, particularly in STEM. And that's another thing I'm so excited about, our AEP program and doing the summer programs, the bridge programs. The future, I see a hidden figure program with girls in STEM. I just see so many wonderful things happening at TCC and in this community to be able to stimulate the future legacies for our community. Yes.
That is wonderful. Excited about all of our work.
Yes.
And
yes.
you and your colleagues leading that work with us. Okay, so we ask this question to every guest. If you could go back in time and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice before you started college, what would it be?
Okay, so my 18-year-old self going to college, one of the reasons that motivated me to go to college is that maybe I didn't have to go to church anymore because I'm a preacher's kid.
Are you really?
So I wanted college so bad, and college away from home. And what did I do when I went to college? I joined the Voices of Christ choir. So
You can only get so far away from it, right?
absolutely. But I would tell myself to look at everything I'm paying for. I did not access the supportive programs at college. You know, I loved the social programs at college, but I didn't access the supportive programs until I was much older and understood that they were there. And I talked to a lot of my friends who I went to college with. And, now that we have these student success centers, colleges are having those centers. I don't know how we knew about the other supportive programs that were out there. And so I just encourage students, because I would tell my 18-year-old self to go and look for the tutoring, for the social support if you're having problems. We just suffered within because we thought that was life and that's what
I
you
know.
do.
Well,
And
they were
so-
telling us to look to your right and your left, and you won't all be here,
Yes,
right? And
absolutely.
so I remember it was a weed out mentality for the
Absolutely.
faculty, and it's not across the nation. It's not.
That's right.
I don't think Tulsa Community College nor Harvard want to lose any of the students that they take in.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't have access to those services only if you're lucky enough to hear about them or stumble
That's
into
right.
them.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
That's
Everybody
right.
deserves that access, which is why the work that you all are doing in terms of community outreach and work that's going on throughout the college is so critical. So thanks for your time, for being here, and thanks for joining us. And we hope that the rest of your first year is a great one and the first of many here at the college. You've been listening to the Big Blue Podcast. We want to thank our guest today, again, Ramona Curtis, for spending time with us today, and thank you for listening. Remember, you can catch the Big Blue Podcast each week in the week at TCC and on the Creativity channel at YouTube. Dr. Goodson, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank
Right.
you.